disclaimer, I will keep it very short so that we can all head for lunch. Thank you for the introduction. So basically, I'll start with my role. Of all the activities that we do as managers, and I think a lot of you will relate to it, is to scale delivery for our organization, keeping some of the things that hinder and bring friction to our delivery at minimum. And the second piece is about how do we use technology to transform what we are doing and bring productivity to the organization. And the last two speakers, Mr. 𝗦𝘂𝗺𝗺 and Mr. Nilesh, talked about the value, and Nilesh talked about as a GCC, should we buy or should we develop the models? And in this case, in Citi Analytics, where I am leading the analytics for US personal banking, we have chosen in last 12 to 18 months to build some of the tools using LLM and GenAI. I'm going to talk about some of the experience that we have observed in building those, and what are the challenges and what we are facing in taking those pilot to actual production ready solution. So let's start with acknowledging one thing. Each one of you might have done pilots for your organization and they work superbly. We get a high accuracy. Our stakeholders are very, very happy. So when I've taken some notes, the accuracy is becoming very, very impressive in the pilots that we are doing. So what's really the challenge in taking it to a production level? And the real challenge is when we are working on production, the input that we are adding to the pilot, the SME level interventions that goes into the pilot can't be scaled to the level that is needed at a production. So unless you are also investing on at the back end, how you are looking at your context, the knowledge that you have in the organization, your pilots can't deliver the similar output that your pilots are doing. And it all comes down to the tribal knowledge, which is within each of the team member, what they know. They take care of what is the particular cases that they need to ignore, what are the new information they need to add to the use cases. So case to case, there are a lot of inputs that helps the pilot to succeed, while in a large scale model we fail to do without that knowledge. So let's talk about some of the things that actually we miss when we are taking to a production ready system. The friction actually begins when we deal to take this, collate all the information and engineer it for the tool. And it is actually a problem of how the knowledge is architect to help the LLM. And so let me give you an example to help understand from the real life, right? So we were building a intelligence as a service for our organization, and which actually would take a problem statement, and with that data that we would input, it will try to replicate analysis to help understand where we need to deep dive. So it's a initial level of analysis that can lead to properly directing our team's effort to deep dive into certain use cases that are more meaningful and not to waste a lot of time for the team. Now for the pilot, the few examples that we took for the pilot were pretty much amazing, because it's not because the way we chose the pilot, but because when we were working on the pilot, all the knowledge behind what we need to do, we were able to provide subject matter expertise from both the data and the business team to sit with the development team to help curate what exactly the tool needs to generate those insight. And when we did the demo, it was very impressive. So all the users were very, very excited for the prospect of the tool. Now we go into the next stage where we need to deploy it, and we wanted good amount of 20 to 30% of the analysis should be routed through this tool. And that's when we realized that what we were expecting as a timeline to make it effective, we are stretching the timeline, and we discovered that the nuances that we were able to very easily overcome when we were working with fewer use cases, suddenly when we go into a life case where there can be analysis generating from different product lines, functions, it needs that level of information. So instead of just adding 2 or 3 SMEs, we would require the entire organizational understanding of the business, product lines, the nitty-gritties with the data to be ingested. And that's the time when we realized that the context engineering behind the tool is as important as the product itself. And the context engineering is not just having a document talk about the product, different scenarios and all. It also involves what reside in each of our analysts' mind. There are number of instances all of you might have been either leading or have led projects like this. You understand that your resources carry information in their head which are very critical for making those analysis meaningful for the business. And documenting it would require us to be very smart about how we are inputting it. And it is not basically a series of paragraphs or prompts. It needs to be made into a system where, depending on the orchestrating agent, it is able to invoke the right information to carry on that analysis. Basically at every stage, what to just discard and what to keep and where to go in depth is something that need to be brought up. Another thing is, and to the same context, is that when we think about an LLM, the two important limitations that I think it requires us to think about the context engineering even more. One is LLMs are predicting machine. They are not truth machines. So what you get out of an LLM is what it predicts as the more probable. And when we take a tool and think about it as something that can help us generate productivity, we require the output to be as close to the truth as possible. Of course, it will never be 100%, but we want it to be as close to the truth as possible. And the second limitation is most of the LLM that we see outside is more of conversational. So when you get an output, you interact with the system. Think about the ChatGPT and all the other chatbots that we have generated through LLMs. These are all conversational tools. Now, if you want really the productivity or efficiency to be generated, what Mr. 𝗵𝘂𝗺 was talking about, you require substantial portion of your workflow to be automated, which means that even if you have strong agents as orchestrator, you can't continue to interact with the output all the time. And that's where both of this, we realized that, and again, I'm not claiming that we were able to completely solve, but as we are investing on the context engineering piece, we realized that a lot of this flaws of the tool, when we are putting a lot of SMEs, we are able to take it out. Lastly, I will just emphasize the same thing that I'm anyway talking about, so I'll keep it short. While we are investing a lot on the technology, the infrastructure, on the LLMs and how we develop the tool, I think a good portion of the time need to go into enterprise level context engineering, and we need to move from tribal knowledge to something more documented that we are ignoring for a long time, because we were able to put SMEs, develop SMEs, and then put them in the right projects, which might not be possible when we are looking into this Gen AI based solutions. Thank you.